Oh hi. Santander, the city in Spain, the administrative center of autonomous community Cantabria. The municipality is in structure of the area. Comarca. Santander. The population minus card. 2011. Santander is located on the bank of the Atlantic Ocean and as the typical seaside city was extended along the coast. After the catastrophic fire in 1941 continuing 2 days, the downtown underwent reorganization. Some historians, for example, Joaquin Echegaray, consider that the Roman port Portus Victoria Julia Brigantium could be in the place of modern Santander. For the first time mentioned during War from Cantabria in the 26th year ad. In spite of the fact that the city is for the first time mentioned in 1068 during Sancho II's government, an important event for the history of Santander is the basis in the 9th century of Alfonso II of Abbey of Sacred Bodies. Abadia de los Cuerpos Santos, where transferred relics of Saints Emeteria and Caledonia. According to a legend, Saints Emeteria and Caledonia were beheaded for refusal to renounce Christian belief in time of great persecution at the Emperor Diocletian. After their head were put in the stone boat to keep relics from the coming Muslim Arabs, and when the boat approached surrounded with rocks Santander, those were miraculously divided, and relics found the new haven at Il Somorostro. According to philologists, the name of the city comes from the Latin name of the place, Porta Sanctorum Emeterii et Celadoni, which later changed in modern Santander. Sancti Emeteri greater than of Sancti Emderii greater than Sanctander greater than Sanandero greater than Santander greater than Santanderio greater than Santander. Today both saints are considered as patrons of the city and their head are represented on the coat of arms. On July 11, 1187 the King Alfonso VIII appointed the abbot of Sacred Bodies the senior of the city and also granted to him the special rights and advantages to simplification of trade, sea navigation, fishery and in 1248 residents of Santander took part in a siege of Seville, in an award having received for it from the king the coat of arms on which the Tower of Tor del Oro, a gold tower, and the Guadalquivir River is represented. In the 13th century Santander is included into Sea Brotherhood. Catastrophic for the city were events of 1497 when from Flanders there arrived Margarita Avstrijskaya's fleet, and together with him in plague. After epidemic the city became deserted, only 2,000 people drove out of 8,600 died. In the 18th century Santander begins to be restored from last crises. Opening in 1753 of the road which connected industrial Burgos to the city. Especially after 1765 when between Santander and the American colonies trade relations were established became an important event. On December 12, 1754 the Santanderski diocese was formed, and in 1755 Ferdinand VI granted to Santander the city status. At the beginning of the 19th century rapid economic development allowed the city to reach a dominant position in the region. In 1801 it becomes the capital of the sea province of the same name. Provincia Maritima di Santander. And in 1833 Province of Santander existed up to 1981. In 1982 the autonomous community Cantabria was formed. In 1893 there was an explosion by the Cabo Machichaco ship. The dynamite transporting 51 tons. As a result of 590 people it was killed and about 200 more it is wounded. The port and nearby streets strongly suffered from explosion and the subsequent fire. In the second half of the beginning of the 20th century the city endures growth of tourism. Santander becomes the favorite resort of the Spanish King Alfonso XIII. For the king and his family in 1912 built the Palace of La Magdalena. Beaches El Sardinero, with constructed around by casino, hotels, parks and the areas become an important site of the city. The economic growth of the city connected with development of tourism and trade at the beginning of the 20th century was interrupted by 1930, the Great Depression and political instability. In 1931 the monarchy was overthrown. Slowed down development of the city. In October 1934 in Santander, as well as in many cities of Spain, there were disorders connected with inclusion in the government of 3 representatives from Ceuta. In 1936 in Spain civil war began. First Santander remained in hands of Republicans, only after falling of Bilbao and Brunete nationalists started capture of Cantabria. During the multi-day Battle of Cantabria, on August 26, 1937 Santander fell. Many Republican soldiers taken prisoner were executed later. Subsequently the equestrian statue of Franco dismantled in 2008 was placed into the main square. In 1941 in Santander there was a fire which lasted 2 days. February 15 and 16. During these 2 days almost all historical part of the city burned down. Strong southern wind and also generally wooden houses didn't allow to put out this fire. As a result of the fire one person, the firefighter Julian Sanchez Garcia died. The fire destroyed a medieval part of the city. 37 streets of 14 hectares. About 10% of inhabitants lost a shelter. About 10,000 from inhabitants in 1940. And 700 without work. The city almost completely changed the appearance and from 1941 to 1950 there took place full-scale reconstruction of the residential areas of Santander. In 1980 the port of Santander was transferred from the downtown closer to the airport, to border with Camargo's municipality. The municipality Santander includes the territory of the city of Santander and its suburbs. Puerto, Monte, Peña Castilla and the San Roman, being once certain villages, but gradually entered city line. Puerto. Quarters. La Perde, Valdenac, Fumaril. Monte. Quarters. Corbonera, Ovich, Bolado, San Michel. Peña Castillo. Quarters. Nuevo Park, Primero de Mayo, Nueva Montaña, Oques, Adarso, Rucandial, Camarillo, Laic, El Empalma, Lalentec. San Roman. Quarters. La Torre, Monte, Corbin, El Somo, La Leonelia, El Mazo, Tucandalandaba, Lavapis, La Gloria, La Sierra, La Candia, Cursinio, La Cuavona, Pintores Montañeses, La Garita, La Channel, El Camiso, La Sop. Santander. Quarters. Casonia, El Sardinero, Barrio Pesquero, El Alisal, Cabildo de Arriba, Castilla Armida, Puerto Chico, Centro, Cuatro Caminos, Los Castros, La Remonta. The municipality is also divided into 8 areas. The population of the city in 2011 made 179,921 persons. 183,955 in 2006. Since 98 years the tendency to reduction of population is visible. Reduction of birth rate and increase in mortality. Average age of the population in 1996 was 40 years. Santander is one of the safest cities in Spain, so the crime rate in 2007 was one of the lowest in the country. 36.2 offenses on 1,000 inhabitants. Principal organ of local government of Santander is the Municipal Council, led by Alcalde de Cities. Since 2007 his position is held by Íñigo de la Serna from the People's Party. For 2012 the Municipal Council consists of 18 members from the People's Party. 5 from Federation of Socialists of Cantabria. And 4 from Regional Party of Cantabria. The mayor's office is located on Plaza del Ayuntamiento, in the building of 1907. Julio Marín Zapata. Considerably reconstructed in the next years. Near the building, on the square, there was an equestrian statue of the General Franco established in 1964. Sculptor José Capus Mamano. In 2008 the monument was dismantled and sent for storage in the Museum of Cantabria. In Santander many interesting museums and the exhibition centers are located. Maritime Museum of Cantabria and Museum of Modern Art of Santander and Cantabria. Museum of a Prehistoric Era and Archaeology of Cantabria. Museum of a Bullfight of Santander. Palace of Festivals of Cantabria. Congress Palace and Exhibitions of Santander. Regional Cinematheque of Cantabria. In the city take summer courses of the International University of Menendez and Pelayo and a musical festival in Santander. Sites: Cathedral of Santander. Santanderski Cathedral of the 13th-14th centuries, 2-piece. Lower church and top. Relics of Saints Emeteria and Caledonia are stored in cathedral. Church of the Holy Heart of Jesus. The Royal Palace of La Magdalena of 1912, the summer residence of the King Alfonso XIII at which Santander turned into the popular resort. The region of El Sardinero, which is the tourist downtown with casino, restaurants and hotels. Besides, is in this part of Santander a number of large cultural and sports constructions of the city, such as Congress Palace and Exhibitions, El Sardinero Stadium and Sports Palace. El Gran Casino of Sardinero, the largest casino in Cantabria which opened in 1916. The architect Eloy Marines del Valle. Cerro de Cabameo, the beacon on the Cape Cabameo built on August 15, 1839. Hotel Real, the beautiful 5-floor hotel constructed in 1917 on González Rianco's project. Paseo de Parada, one of the main city streets, passes along the coast from Alfonso 13th Street to Castellar Street. The main attractions are the Gardens Parada and the building of Bank Santander. Paird's Gardens. The small park called in honor of the Spanish writer José María de Paird. In the center there is a monument to the writer. The building of Santanderski Bank. The 5-floor building built in 1923 consists of 2 cases connected by an arch. Architect Javier González Rianco. Santander is well known for the beaches and parks. On the peninsula of La Magdalena, around the Royal Palace, the park of the same name. Being on an equal basis with the palace, the main attraction of the city is located. In the park, the pond and buildings of royal stables is located. On May 11, 2007, the Atlantica Park, Las Llamas, located behind Sports Palace, was open. Among other parks and gardens, it is possible to call the gardens Picchio. Located in the tourist region of El Sardinero, among the well-known beaches. The Park of Dr. Morales. The cow park, as in his territory there is the monument to a cow called in the people. The Park of González Masones, bearing a name of one of mayors of Santander, and others. In Santander 12 city beaches, among which there are best known first and second El Sardinero beaches. Santander in the highest league of the Spanish World Cup represents FE Racing, playing the home games in the field of Stadium El Sardinero. The club was founded in 1913 and renamed at the time of Franco into Real Santander. In 1977 the former name was restored. Besides soccer in the city, there was the known handball club Cantabria. Teca Cantabria. Founded in 1975. The last competitions to participation of handball team took place in Sports Palace of Santander. Main type of transport in Santander: automobile. City buses belong to municipality. Fare is Euro 1.20 for 2012. Also, bus transportations are made by the ALSA company, through Astabus subsidiary. In 2006 the project of the subway, consisting of 4 lines of the easily rail transport and the funicular constructed in 2008, was developed. In Santander there are 2 railway stations located to Plaza Las Estaciones. Atilano Rodriguez Street. Near bus station. With 1 landing, 2 trains, going on the broad gauge line. Belongs to the Renfe company. With another on trains of 2 narrow gauge lines is carried up. The 5 companies belong. The airport of Santander is in 5 kilometers from the city, in Camargos municipality. In 2007 the number of passengers reached 761,000 people a year, and in 2011 exceeded a mark in 1 million. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.